Hey everybody, so I took a trip to Denver, Colorado. Not really for fishing, but I did decide to spend a day chasing some natives that have eluded me for the last few years. So this is what I meant by not for fishing. I actually went to the Denver Rock and Gem show. I know, kind of nerdy, but it's always been something that's interested me. Surprisingly good barbecue for, I guess, not Texas. So the weather looked good at the start of the day, but as I got higher and over Vail Pass, um, pretty much the rain started and it was pretty cold. I think the temperature dropped about 10 to 15 degrees from when I arrived. Now this trail, I wasn't carrying a sleeping bag or tent, but it was about 1,800 feet over about 3 miles, so fairly steep. And the camera doesn't do it justice. Like the beginning section and the end section were, I think there were some sections that were like 20% to 30% grade. I know the last mile was about 1,000 feet. So I passed by some fishable water, but for some reason, the map at the beginning of the trail seemed to make it seem like the fish were up at the end by the lake, which was a big mistake because the fishable part was probably a mile or less than a mile from the trailhead versus going all the way up to the top. And as I went higher and higher, it actually started getting colder and colder, obviously, but the hail and the rain actually started to ice up a little bit, or at least slush up on the ground. This is the top of the mountain. I don't regret coming up just because it's a pretty spectacular sight, but really not necessary, and there weren't any fish in that lake. I didn't actually throw a line in the water, but I sat there resting and watching the water, and I didn't see any signs of life. So as I started back down, the weather did actually clear up a little bit, so you got more views. It took me about an hour to get back to the semi-flattish meadow area, which had the fishable water, as I mentioned in the beginning. So I did some blind casting originally, didn't really get much action, then I finally found a fish hovering, and I was using my tenkara rod, which I'm still a noob at casting tenkara, so I eventually switched to my traditional fly rod. So I know it's hard to see the fish, but it's where you expect it to be, kind of in front of that rock next to the cut bank. It took me about 3 passes with a parachute Adams, and it finally came up and took a sip. I set the hook, and luckily it was a clean set, and I got him in the net pretty easily. Well, semi-easily. So the story for this fish is, I came here about 2 or 3 years ago, and thought I had caught a greenback cutthroat in the Rocky Mountains, but it turned out it was really a Colorado River cutthroat that people thought were greenbacks. Hard to tell the difference. Those two fish look different, but the spot patterns seem pretty similar, like big spots in the back with some smaller ones spread out in the front. Anyways, I did find another one, and I actually did a good amount of casting at it and fly changes, but it wouldn't take, so don't know if that one's just been caught recently or I just wasn't presenting well, but it got dark and decided to head back down. So sorry there wasn't more fishing, but like I said, this trip was more of a touristy trip. Hope to at least make one more trout trip this season, but we'll see. Thanks again for watching, and I'm also part of the Trout photo contest, so if you want to vote for me and you get this far, link is in the description. Thanks.